Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining me for this video. Joe here with Tufel Gun and Armory, and today's video is going to be the 7th installment in our AR instructional series. We are going to be installing the barrel nut, handguard, gas block, and gas tube today, and by the end of the video, we will be about 90% of the way complete with this build. Now, a couple of the tools that we will need to complete this is a torque wrench. You can buy these in sets, various different sizes. Mine has about 40 different bits, so I always have the right size. And then you'll want to get an armorer's wrench. While you can use a regular wrench in some cases, these are very cheap and you'll have them forever. I've never lost one yet. With that being said, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way we grow together. And let's go ahead and get started on this. So the first part we're going to be installing is the barrel. Now, obviously, the barrel has two ends. You have your threaded end, which is where your muzzle device is going to go. And then you have your non-threaded end, which is going to be the barrel extension. And on that barrel extension, you have a little notch right here. And that notch slides into a corresponding groove on the threading of the upper receiver, just like so. Now, at this point, the barrel is not held in by anything. That's where the barrel nut comes into play. And according to the books, your barrel nut should be torqued down between 30 and 80 pounds. That's basically hand tighten plus like a quarter of a turn. It's very important you don't over tighten it too much, because you can damage the threading on the upper receiver and then you'll most likely need a replacement. So just like that, hand tighten plus a little bit more, and you're perfectly fine there. With your barrel and your barrel nut installed, now it is time to install the gas block and gas tube. It's important to note that there are different types of gas tubes and gas blocks. You have adjustable ones, non-adjustable ones. You have different length gas tubes. It's important to know what you have in relation to what you are installing it on, what type of build. Also, different manufacturers will do different things. Some may package them separately, sell them separately. Others may package them together as a set and leave them separate. Others will even put it together for you. That's kind of the route I chose for this build, just to make it easier. However, I will go into the very easy process of putting it together, just in case you go the opposite route and purchase yours separately. I also want to get into a couple of the key areas on your build that when you're installing this system, you want to take an extra look at, just to make sure everything is lined up properly. The first one is going to be the hole in the front of the upper receiver. Say you have a rifle length gas port and a carbine length gas tube. Well, then your port's going to be somewhere down here, and that gas tube isn't going to enter the upper receiver. Conversely, if you have a carbine length barrel and a rifle length gas tube, then it's going to go in, but your gas block won't line up with your gas port. And that brings me to the next point. This hole right in the top of your barrel, that is the gas port. And that is kind of, in my opinion, the driver for the entire direct gas impingement system. You see, what happens is that gas port, as each round is fired, that round is going to travel down the barrel. And once that round passes the gas port, a portion of that gas is going to escape out that gas port into the corresponding hole in your gas block, into the gas tube, and back down the length of the barrel into your upper receiver, where your locked chamber and bolt carrier group is sitting, just like so. And that gas coming back, that energy coming back, is what unlocks your bolt and pushes it back into the buffer system. And then that buffer system is what pushes it back forward and feeds that next round. And we're back at square one and we start all over again. So you want to make sure that where your gas port is, there's going to be this stopper. And you want to make sure that you have the same distance between that stopper and that gas port as you have between the back of your gas block and that corresponding hole for the port. Because you want those lined up. You don't want them kind of catty-cornered to where there's less gas coming through than it should. You don't want them past each other like so. You want them kind of as much as you can to have them lined up. So if you need to take extra measurements, you can. I just took a simple Allen key and kind of eyeballed it here and then eyeballed it here and made sure it was in the same ballpark, and it is. So then you're ready to install it. So we have it set into place right here. There are gunsmiths out there that offer barrel divoting services, and what that'll do is they'll take where that back screw is and they'll take that back screw out and they'll mark the barrel, and then they'll just do a tiny divot into the bottom of that barrel, and when you reinstall that screw, it's going to go into that divot and kind of hold the gas block in place. So your gas block doesn't slip and slide or whatever if it's not tightened up as well as it should be. This barrel is not divoted, nor am I going to divot it, but as long as these are together, I've already measured and they are lined up, so I know that when I take this to the range, that gas is going to be a revolving system. What can happen is if they're not lined up properly or not lined up at all, that gas is not going to come back, and then that bolt is going to stay forward. You're going to have to manually rack every single time, and the platform is not going to work properly. So it's very important that these are lined up correctly. Once it's installed like this, you're just going to take the Allen key. Most manufacturers will supply your Allen key with it, and you are going to tighten these down. I'm going to tighten them down probably about 90% of the way, and then I want to make sure that we are straight up and down, because you don't want your gas block catty-cornered either for the same reasons. And then I'm going to tighten it down the rest of the way. And we are good to go. So now we have our gas block and our gas tube installed. When we come back, I'm going to install the handguard, and then we will be finishing up on this video. The last thing we're going to install in this video is your build's handguard. Now, the handguard is one of those areas that you can really fall down a rabbit hole, get big into customization, and really make your build your own. For this build, I chose a 15-inch free-floating handguard. They do make handguards out there that are not free-floating, but I chose this one, and here's why. For starters, we have a flat top Picatinny rail all the way down, and that goes right in line with our flat top upper receiver that also has Picatinny. On the bottom, all the way down, you have M-LOK, so you can put attachments wherever you want, whether you want a foregrip, bipod, whatever you name it. And on the sides, you also have 3 segments down on the barrel end that you can put attachments on too, whether you want a flashlight, laser, you name it, left side, right side, it's up to you. It also comes with this really cool hexagon design, and that goes right in line with our hex mag. Now, just for safety purposes, I'm showing there is no live ammunition, but this is a really cool hex mag and goes right in line with our hexagon design handguard. To install it is super easy. You're just going to slide it down. This one does fit kind of tight around its barrel nut because of the texturing, but we're going to shimmy it on here and it'll line up. I'm not really worried about it being that tight though, because that'll help it stay in place when we go to screw it in. All right, so that is there now. On the back side, you have your fastener screws down here on the bottom. This is the only thing holding that handguard on. It is essentially clamped down to that barrel nut, and these are tightened into place. Now, these screws, most brands sit at around 25 pounds for a torque. And so I'm going to go ahead and set it at like 27, and we'll go from there. It may not even make it that far. It may be different. I'm just going to go with it. And you want to tighten them evenly. We are torqued. We are torqued. And with that, our handguard is installed. Thank you for joining me for this video. My name is Joe at Teufel Gun & Armory. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment box below. Also, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way that we grow together. Be on the lookout for the 8th and final installment of this series, where we install the muzzle device, throw in the bolt carrier group and charging handle, and call it a day. I'll see you next time.